Good afternoon, cadets. This is Mr. Blickenstaff. Just wanted to take a couple minutes with you guys and go over some building level procedures and expectations for the course of this school year. So these are some of the topics that we're going to cover. By no means is this going to be an exhaustive presentation. If you have questions that aren't covered in this presentation, as always at the end of this, hit one of us up via email and we'll try to answer your questions as best we can. First up, let's talk a little bit about the school buses and some changes that we've had to make for this school year. So remember that all school rules apply when you guys are on the school bus, and you have to keep your masks on when you are on the bus at all time. I know your bus drivers have you guys in seating charts now, whether you like them or not. That is for your health and your safety. So make sure those masks are on, make sure you're applying by social distancing, and make sure you are listening to your driver and following all the instructions that your driver gives you, because they have a very, very important job, and that's to get you to school safely and to get you home from school safe as well. So the drivers have the same discipline plan that your teachers do here at the middle school. So if there are any discipline consequences that need to happen as a result of behavior choices that are made on the bus, your drivers can discipline you in the same manner that your classroom teachers can. Your driver's going to train you in how to enter and exit the bus. Make sure you are following the directions, especially if you are getting dropped off or picked up and you have to cross the road. Let's talk a little bit about entering the school at the beginning of the day. If you are a car rider, you're going to be coming in door 25. This is the back side of the Cadet Center. That is the parent pickup and drop-off location. We're not going to have any early entry into the school building this year for at least this first semester. So the Learning Hub is not going to be open in the morning as it was last year. No student should be in the hallway unsupervised before school begins. A teacher may organize with you to come in early and receive some extra help or tutoring before school. If that happens, you'll report directly to that teacher and only that teacher. All of our bus riders should come in when you get off of the bus right into the main doors. That's door 11. Let's talk a little bit about staying after school and the steps and procedures you need to follow if you would like to stay after. Our Learning Hub is open for 45 minutes after school, so that's until 3:45. Mrs. Harshbarger stays after in the Learning Hub and helps to supervise students who are staying after school for tutoring or homework support or for any other reason. If you are a person who is staying after school, you must have a ride home at 3:45, and parents must pick you up promptly outside the main doors of Cascade Middle School. No students should be staying after school unsupervised. Students, if you are after school, you need to be under the direct supervision of an adult or a coach. Just like before school tutoring, teachers might arrange with you to stay after school for a mandatory study tables assignment. Your teachers will work that out with you on an individual basis. You should never at any point enter Cascade High School unsupervised. Let's talk a little bit about hallway procedures. As you can see in the corner of every hallway, our hallways do have hall names. Those are named for emergency and first responder entry into the building so that they know where to go as they navigate through our halls. Students, as you are walking down the hall, it's important this year more than ever to stay to the right and have a flow just like traffic. We've got shortened passing periods this year, 3 minutes instead of 4 minutes. So if everybody stays on one side, it'll keep that jostling in the hallways to a minimum. Make sure you keep your hands, feet, and objects to yourself while you're moving about the hallways, and always keep your masks on during transitions from one class to another class. Don't run in the hallways. You've got 3 minutes, but because you guys don't have lockers this year, that 3 minutes is plenty of time to get you from point A to point B, because you don't have any stops that you have to make in between. Just go straight from one class to another class without stopping. We do have several security cameras available in each hallway that we only review if we need to review those. You should not be consuming any food or drink in the hallways as you move from class to class to prevent spills. Lunch is looking a lot different this year compared to in years prior. Let's talk a little bit about that. You'd notice by now that even at lunch we have to maintain assigned seats. This is for contact tracing. In case someone were to get sick, we have to be able to identify everybody who's sitting around that person. Because you guys are eating lunch in your classrooms, it's more important now than ever to clean up after yourself. Make sure you're not leaving trash on your classroom floor, and you don't have to spend several minutes of class time picking up from lunch. Your lunchroom supervisor will be around to dismiss you to the cafeteria to pick up your lunch. Make sure you're not leaving early before the supervisor gets there to dismiss your class. If you're bringing your lunch to school, you need to make sure you drop off your lunchbox in the cafeteria before the start of the school day at the designated location for your fifth period teacher. During lunch, you should consume all your food and beverages that you've brought to school or that you purchased in the cafeteria. All of the typical classroom rules apply during lunch, and for those students who can't abide by those typical classroom rules, we will find an alternative place for you to consume your meals. Let's talk a little bit about breakfast. Breakfast is available each and every morning here at Cascade Middle School. This year it is grab and go style, so our cafeteria manager has a table set up outside of the cafeteria. If you'd like to get a breakfast, all you need to do is stop by the table in the morning, purchase that breakfast, and head on to first period. You should consume your entire breakfast meal that you purchased prior to the start of first period at 7:55. Again, make sure you're cleaning up your area after you eat. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about lockers, but it's not going to be too long because you don't have them. This is something that we're going to revisit second semester. For right now, all lockers are not in use. Probably the most important room in the school this year is the middle school clinic. Let's take a look at some of the procedures that go along with clinic visits. If you have any kind of medicine, whether that's prescribed medicine or over-the-counter medicine, you need to make sure you bring that into Mrs. Squires, our clinic assistant, and you check that in with her. You should not be carrying around any kind of medication with you during the school day. All medications need to be turned into our clinic assistant so that she can track and monitor the usage of that medication. Any student who becomes ill during the school day, please come down to the clinic to report that illness to our clinic assistant prior to contacting your parents. Again, please come down to the clinic so that we can check your symptoms before we make parent contact. Excessive clinic visits will be logged and parent contact made for students who are coming down and abusing privileges of visiting the clinic. Once you are in the clinic assistant will determine the length of your stay in the clinic. So if she determines you just need to lay down for a little bit, she'll decide how long that will be, and then you'll be sent back to class. New this year, we have a special COVID clinic. So another room in our office for specific signs and symptoms related to the coronavirus. Any student exhibiting signs or symptoms of the coronavirus will be sent to the COVID clinic and will be monitored until parents are available to come and pick up said student. Our school is following the health protocols issued to us by the State Department of Health, and that is students who are exhibiting multiple signs and symptoms of COVID-19 are to be sent home for an extended duration. The most important things you can do, students, is to self-monitor and check your symptoms each and every morning before you come to school. And if you are ill, stay home from school. Do not come to school ill. If you guys have any questions about these topics that we've just covered in this presentation or others that you have thought of while the presentation was going on, please don't hesitate to email me, Mr. Blickenstaff, our assistant principal, Mr. Hansel, or guidance counselor, Ms. Craig. Thanks, guys, and have a great rest of your day. Good afternoon, cadets. Mr. Blickenstaff here, coming to you, well, from my office. Good afternoon, cadets. Mr. Blickenstaff here. I just want to take a couple minutes with you guys in the same way that your classroom teachers can. Your drivers can I better not smile while I'm saying that. Oh, I guess I could have cut that out. But, yeah. That were needed because of the I don't need to say any of that stuff. Reevaluation, I don't even know what to say there. After school for a mandatory let's talk a little bit about hallway procedures. It's more important now than ever because you guys